Hello everyone, welcome to our video on keys and chords. So we're going to look at specific keys and their chord progressions here for reading music, right? So we've come to a point where we are pretty familiar with the notes, the note names, what they mean. Our major chords are going to go along with our major scales. So our major chords are going to be what the notes are. We have a C, G, D, A, E, and B major, okay? The minor chord that is going to correspond with that is going to be this line, D, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp. So for instance, if you're going to play a piece of music and you have a major chord and a minor chord set together, those are two notes that are going to essentially complement one another while you were playing them. So let's say that you have a C major chord. You go, oh, playing C, all right? The minor is going to offset that. Okay, so for C, if you have a D minor, you would end up going, all right, so at the same time. If you're going to play C, D, E, that would be the same time, right? So, right? If you're going with G, you would have G, A, B, right? If you're going with D, D, E, F sharp. If you have a major scale of F, C, G, D, A, E, here's our major progression, okay? You would have F and G together. You would have C and D together. You have G and A together, D and E together, and A and B together. All right. Now, in our initial major chords here, we're seeing that our first chord would be played as such. With our G flat major, you can see that we have 6 flats in this particular scale. Okay. With the B major, we'd end up having 5 sharps. All right. So this chord scale progression is going to be the basis for what the scale looks like on a sheet of music. So for our C major, you can see that going from C to C is going to be straight natural notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. The chord progression that's going to start is going to be indicated by a major or a minor. So if you're writing something in the key of G, let's so to speak, if you're going to play everything with G, G is going to be the major chord there, so the major note. If you want to play a progression with G as a major and put a minor in there, then you would put chord progression G, B, G, A, G, B, G, A, something like that, right? The diminished chord is going to be the one that's directly underneath. What that means is it's a half step down. So if we're playing a G major and then we want a diminished chord, you would play F sharp because F sharp is a half step down from G. So let's say we have G, let's say we have, right? So we're playing G, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, right? So we've taken that major chord of G, diminished it slightly to F sharp. If we want to go with a minor, G, A, B, right? So G, C, see how that's a little bit different. G, C, those are 2 major chords. In between it, we have the minors of A, B, right? So G, C, major, A, B, minor. Diminished is F sharp, so G, F sharp, okay? So if you're playing through the major scale and you want to put in these note progressions to have it in a minor, it's going to make the music sound a little bit different. So this is where we get the patterns of something that sounds more upbeat or something that's a little bit more restrained or something that's a little bit darker. You throw these chord progressions in to make it change, to make it a little bit different. Okay, so if you want to have something that's all upbeat and ready to go, you put in a bunch of major chords. So you put in G, C, G, C, G, C, right? Da, 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 right, great. Oh yeah, everything's good. But if you're going to throw with the major of G, you want to throw in a diminished chord and then some minors, you'd have G, F sharp, A, G, F sharp, A, G, F sharp, A, right? So that's a little bit more of a depressed, downtrodden type of sound, right? So you're throwing the minors and the majors in there, and it goes along with each one of these. So for D, A, E, B, all of this has minor chord progression or minor note you can throw in there. So you can make it sound a little bit different based on the major, minor, or diminished chord. For this chart here, we're throwing in some similar things, right? This is just showing it a little bit more of a complexity. So in this case, the M is going to indicate a minor, right? The sharp is the sharp symbol, and the flat is the flat symbol. So for G, we can see that our diminished chord is F sharp. Then for G, our minor chords are A, B, E. Let's go down here for let's say B, for example. B, our major chords are B and E. Our diminished chord is A sharp. The minor chords here are going to be C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. Okay. Sorry, not the F sharp. F sharp's still the major. So minor chords are C sharp, D sharp, G sharp. Okay. Same thing for our F scale. Right. For the F scale, we have a B flat that's going to be a minor chord. Right. So major chord. Sorry. F, B flat are major chords. F, B flat, C, major chords. Our minor chords are going to be G, A, D. Our diminished chord for F is E, right? So F, E for diminished chord. So that's the difference of the diminished chord there, right? Each major key is going to be what key the song is in. So that's the bass note. So everything in the key of E is always going to come back to a base of E. It's based off of E and the note progression for the E major scale. Okay, so our E major scale goes E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, right? So that means that the music that's written off of that is going to be based on that note progression. It's going to play those notes in sequence in whatever order that they're going to be played for the piece, right? If we are going to switch keys or change keys in the middle of a piece, that means that you're going to have a key change. Key change is indicated by changing major keys. So if we change from E major key to D major key, that means that now every time we play an E, it's going to be natural. Every time we play an F, it's going to be natural, all right? Sorry, sharp. Every time that we play, let's say, a B, it's going to be natural. Every time that we play a C, it's going to be natural. So for this chord progression at E, we have F sharp, G sharp, C sharp. Right? For this chord progression with D, now we don't have a G sharp anymore. So this is a natural G, okay? As far as C, our C sharp is the diminished chord here, whereas our C sharp is just a minor chord here. So we have that key change, and that key change will change this note, right? So instead of having G sharps, now we have G naturals. So changing major keys in the middle of a song is a common thing that is usually done. And we see that in most cases, right? But whatever key you start out in, it's going to indicate the notes that you're going to play in that song. So if you're starting out in the major key of, let's say E flat, that means that for the entirety of the song, unless indicated otherwise, you're going to play E is a flat, A is a flat, and B is a flat note, right? The F's, G's, C's, and D's will be natural, but everything is based on that, right? So for our chord progression, it would be that way. So let's bring it back to here, if we want to throw that in. This is an F major, okay? So here we have an F sharp, right? So if we take an F sharp, let's go back to our reference chart. We have F sharp, and that's our only sharp note. F sharp indicates which scale? Well, that indicates that we're going to be in a G scale. So we're in a G major chord, G major key. So that means that this is in the key of G. If we have an F sharp, that means that this is in the key of G. So every time that we play an F, it's going to be a sharp note. So key of G, we're going to start on G. G, D, G, D, B, G, B, G. These are all natural notes. And then when we get here, we go A, B, C, B, D, F, and the F is sharp. So every time we come across an F here, we're going to play F sharp. That is indicating a major key of G, right? So that's just how you would translate that out into the song. So whatever the major key is, you would get the notes for the signature. So you had a C sharp and F sharp in the key signature. That means you're in the major key of A while playing that. All right. So that is keys and chord progressions. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. See you next time.